Alrighty, my friends, I have shown you how to make keto banana muffins. I have shown you how to make keto pumpkin spice muffins. I have shown you how to make keto coffee cake muffins. And today, I'm going to show you how to make gluten-free, keto-friendly chocolate chip muffins. Perfect for a light breakfast or just a little light sweet snack. They are perfect, they are wonderful, and they are easy. Y'all know I love to cook, but I like to live by the KISS method. Keep it simple, sweetie. Like it simple, like it tasty. And that's just what these are, simple and tasty. And if you want a printable version of this, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, right next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. Make sure you click that bell so you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And while you do that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line or spray a 12-cup muffin pan. In a large mixing bowl, combine 1½ cups almond flour, 2 tablespoons finely ground psyllium husk powder, and 1 tablespoon baking powder. Whisk these all together until there are no lumps in the flour. Set the dry ingredients aside, and in a large mixer bowl, combine 5 tablespoons of softened butter. Make sure it's just soft, you don't want it melted. A ½ cup of powdered swerve or powdered sweetener of your choice, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Beat these on low for about 30 seconds or until they're fully combined and they are nice and creamy. You don't want any lumps in the powdered swerve. Scrape down the sides and push everything to the center of the bowl. Add 2 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature. I say it all the time and I will continue to say it. Room temperature ingredients makes for a smoother batter, makes for a fluffier muffin. Add a ½ cup of room temperature sour cream. Again, room temperature. Beat these together on low for another 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined and smooth. Again, scrape down the sides and push everything to the center of the bowl. Add your bowl of dry ingredients to your wet ingredients. Then beat on low for about 10 seconds or just to moisten the dry ingredients. Then increase your speed to medium and beat on medium for about 30 seconds or until everything is completely combined. Use a spatula or large wooden spoon and gently fold in up to a ½ cup of keto chocolate chips. Give or take a few depending on how many chocolate chips you want in your muffins. If you want a recipe for keto chocolate chips, stick around to the end of the video and I will show you my recipe for keto chocolate. Once the chocolate chips are fully combined in the batter, then spoon the batter evenly into the prepared muffin cups. It's a little over 2 tablespoons in each cup if you want to measure it out. Doesn't have to be precise, but you do want them to be fairly even so they cook evenly. Once the batter is spooned out, then use a knife or a small spatula and just smooth out the tops of the batter. That way you can have a more even cook. It doesn't have to be perfectly even on top. Just smooth them out a bit so the batter is fairly even in each cup. Bake for about 20 to 25 minutes or until they're lightly golden around the edges and a tester comes out clean. Mine took exactly 20 minutes. Everybody's oven again is different, so check at that 20-minute mark. Make sure the tester comes out clean. If it doesn't, put it back in for just a couple more minutes. These cook pretty quick. Once they're done baking, Let them sit in the pan for at least 10 minutes. You want to give the ingredients time to really set in. Once they've sat for 10 minutes, transfer them to a wire rack and let them cool completely. Make sure you let them cool completely because, as I've said before and will continue to say, gluten-free baked goods are fragile when they are warm. So especially if you've cooked them in a liner and you try to take the liner off when they're still warm, you're going to end up tearing up your muffin. So make sure you let it cool really good. You can always, if you want a little bit of warmth in it, you can always take the liner off and put it in the microwave for like 5-10 seconds if you're wanting a warm muffin. But otherwise, let it cool completely. That way your muffins don't fall apart. Once they've cooled completely, you can store them in a Ziploc bag or an airtight container at room temperature until you're ready to eat them, or just put them on a plate immediately and eat and enjoy. In a medium saucepan or the bottom pan of a double boiler, bring about 1 cup of water to a low boil over medium-low heat. It doesn't have to be a rapid boil, it just needs to be enough to be able to create steam because this is what's going to help cook your chocolate. Once it's come to a low boil and starting to create steam, place the top pan of the double boiler on top of the bottom pan, or if you don't have a double boiler and you're using a saucepan, place a heat-proof safe bowl securely over the top of the pan with the water in it. Make sure if you are using a bowl that it is heat safe and that it securely fits over the top without teetering or wobbling. And also make sure that the bottom of the bowl is not touching the water at all. That'll make the bowl too hot and then you'll scorch your chocolate. So make sure that it's just hovering over the water just enough for the steam to be able to heat the bottom of the bowl gently. Also, make sure your heat stays at a medium-low to low temperature. If you make the heat too hot, it'll cook the chocolate too fast and you'll either end up with a burnt taste in your chocolate or your chocolate can seize up on you and you'll have chunky chocolate. And nobody wants that. So once you've got your double boiler in place or your heat-safe bowl in place, add 1/4 cup of butter and stir it with a heat-safe spatula until the butter has completely melted. Make sure it is melted fully and completely. I usually like to cut my butter into cubes so that it melts quicker and more evenly over the heat. Once the butter has melted, add 2 tablespoons of powdered swerve or powdered sweetener of your choice. Make sure it is powdered or confectioner's sweetener. The granulated sweetener tends to seize up and you can't get it as smooth as the powdered sweeteners. So powdered swerve is what I use. It works the best. Stir it in continually until it fully dissolves. This can take 1 or 2 minutes maybe. You just want to make sure that every single part of the sugar is fully and completely dissolved. You don't want to have grainy chocolate. Once the swerve is dissolved, add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Stir it with your spatula until the cocoa has fully dissolved. Make sure the chocolate mixture is completely smooth. Once it's completely smooth and there's no grains in your chocolate, pour the chocolate into a heat-safe measuring cup that has a spout so it's easier to pour into your molds. Pour the chocolate into the molds of your choice. If you're wanting to make chocolate chips, then put it into the chocolate chip molds. If you're just wanting chocolate bars or chocolate candy, you can put them into chocolate candy molds. If you don't have molds of any kind, you can pour them into ice cube trays and just fill the ice cube cups about maybe a 1/4 way up. You don't want a thick, huge hunk of chocolate, especially if you're going to use it in cookies. If you're just wanting it as a chocolate candy, I guess, if you don't mind a huge hunk of chocolate, you can fill it all the way up. But if you're wanting to use it for cookies or just as a little snack, just fill the ice cube tray cup about a fourth way full if you don't have molds. Once they're in the molds of your choice, then place them in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours or until they're completely firm. I like to do mine overnight. Really works the best because you really want to make sure that chocolate is firm before you eat it. Otherwise, it'll melt in your hand as soon as you get it. So, 2 hours works if you're really in a hurry to get that chocolate, but to really get the full effect of it, you really need to refrigerate it overnight. Now this recipe makes dark chocolate, so if you're wanting a milk chocolate, then after the cocoa has dissolved, stir in 1 tablespoon of powdered milk or powdered coconut milk if you're going strict keto, and keep stirring it until it fully dissolves into the chocolate mixture before you pour it into the molds. Once the milk and everything's fully combined and everything's fully smooth, just pour it into the molds just like you would with the dark chocolate. Now, if you are wanting this chocolate to use as chocolate chips or chocolate chunks, then you'll need to place the chocolate chips or the chocolate chunks in the freezer overnight. Once they've firmed up in the molds, then place them on a baking sheet in a single layer and freeze them overnight. That way they're nice and firm when you put them in your cookies. Also, you might want to use just a little less than the recipe calls for if you're using this recipe for the chocolate chips. Homemade chocolate doesn't have all the preservatives and whatnot that store-bought chocolate has, so it melts quickly and can get runny really fast. So by freezing it, that helps it to melt a little slower when it's cooking in the oven in your cookies. It helps it melt a little slower. That way it doesn't get as runny as it would if you were to just make it firm in the refrigerator and then put it in your cookies. You can do it that way, but you run the risk of it becoming pretty runny.
And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, then click the thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.